If you're a poet, you are in desperate need of a muse. It could be a cup of coffee, it could be a Twinkie, or it can be something much more complicated than that. How to choose a muse. My last muse ran off. A monosyllabic hottie from downtown Omaha. I struggled on museless, knowing my poem machine would break down very soon. A friend in the know suggested I try a police lineup. Just one visit jump-started her love life. For $100 and a pair of safe-sex sunglasses, you can see a museum of sinners and saints. One lineup guy, ice-pick goatee, and a beating Bette Midler heart tattoo could inspire slant rhymes, eyes closed, but turned out he was allergic to epics and muffins. A dubious muse at best. So I opened myself up to any rhyme or any scheme. Hours without even the hint of a sonnet. I was about to leave, pick up an Elsa Lancaster DVD on the way home, and resign my po-self to slow prose and coconut milk. When a celestial snare drum rolled, and a deus ex machina talent scout spotlight hit my consummate muse, tutored in a yurt, ghost wrote for Gandhi's ghost, loves a wild blueberry breakfast, finished off at Oxford, grins a lot. My poetry machine has never felt better. Hums like sunrise licks the mountain. Thank you. Einstein is one of my very favorite people. I can't read enough by him or about him. He figures in many poems. This is one. It's titled, "It Takes a Window." Think of each poem as a ripe ear of Indian corn, hanging on a wooden peg on the smokehouse door, just one kernel missing. Through that tiny window, I can spot Einstein, happy as a ladybug taking a lunch break. Albert hangs his candy stripe pogo stick on the nearest cooperating cloud, so he can play a quick game of marbles with his good friend Infinity. Who will win? We were in a cafe finishing our goulash when the two gentlemen next to us began to cry hysterically. I finally calmed one down and he told me what was the matter. I gave a fundraiser. Candidate didn't come. Title of the poem is Frequent Suckers. In that second half of the 20th century, both serious scholars and shrink-wrap nuts stubbornly insisted artistic and literary formats evolve through time, like the subtle sexy curve of a flea's ear. Excuse me. First known example of the ripe and ready one-thought repetition poem is Freezing Dawn and Out of Jerky Prehistoric Dirt Age. This pragmatic pink classic comes down to us through the reassuring glow of oral tradition. Title, Don't Be Swallowed. Make a face. Make a face. Make a... My own humble contribution to this ageless genre. No show, no kiss. Deepest espresso eyes candidate. Didn't come to my fundraiser. Didn't come to my fundraiser. Didn't come to my fundraiser. razor. And the second political poem
Did he come to your poetry?
concerns our present president. On Friday, July 10, 2009, Pope Benedict and President Obama got together for a decaf latte. Think about it. Title, Kiss My Ring. Whose ring would you like to kiss? I'd love to lick a star, a sapphire, a nudge, a plump emerald, or maybe cozy up to Wittgenstein's Fire of Love opal from Istanbul. You can practice on a Swiss guard, but never kiss a Secret Service ring. Your lip print goes on file forever. Does one give the Pope's ring a polite peck, or a serious smooch, or a relentless underwater Chicago French tongue? I need to know. Protocol is a poet's best friend. Poetry is a crazy business. This is titled Poetic Potpourri. Poe Biz, Poe Bore, Poe License, Poe, Edgar Allan. Coincidence grins when I discover a typo in a poem. That mistake opens a door. I decide to keep it. Poe Office, Poe Justice from a well-hung jury. Poe Butterfly, caught in the Bocoff butterfly licking my paradox. Potential. There's still a few poems that need looking at and loving before I go to bed. Poe Emily, Poe Lee, Poe Dunk, or the universe. It's your choice. Poe Jangles, my poems are my best friends. I am so delighted when I meet one by chance. Thank you. This is titled Breathtaking. If you, a baby tree frog who just lost your tail, and you really miss it, hop from one leaf to the next, could be your finest moment. If you, an out-of-shape shaman with an obstreperous feather regalia sleeping in, soar from one mountain to the next, could be your finest flight. If you, an extra virgin poet with a wildfire in the heart that even the hottest fire person can't seem to put out, sigh from one poem to the next, could be your finest line. And moving right along to the title poem, you've noticed the mug on the cover, and there are 4 little cameos on the back. They represent the 5 archetypal imaginary poets who appear in the poem. The images were created by the wonderful portrait artist Mark Hotchkiss, who is in the audience. Wave a hand, thank you. Poet Wrangler at work. Tonight we have just time for one short poem from each of you. Give it your best. Let's hear it for Willie Chisel. Okay, cool. I have 10 poems tonight. 1 for each finger. They're tightly bound in a neat organic sequence. A Gordian slipknot of relentless ecstasy, so I'll just have to read all 10. Time. Next, Paulette Lazal. Hi, everybody. Here is a world premiere audience participation poem that requires everyone in the audience to strip to the waist. No need to rush. Time. Next we have Rufy Cockle. I think Mother Nature is awesome. How about you? Title of my poem is Earth Tickle. To get us in the mood, we will, well, close our eyes for 5 minutes. We listen ever so closely. We can share the unforgettable sound of raindrops hitting the lid of an 18-inch pizza box. Time! Meet Cynthia May. This is a one-word, extremely urgent, concrete survival poem. It's untitled. Sponge, 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 time. Last but not least, we have Harry Buns. My poem's titled Plato's Squeeze. It begins with a surprisatory mirror image of the reader, scary but oh so meaningful. From there we dash to philosophical debate just like that symposium, but with a full bar. Moving right along, we languish briefly in a sweet lyric interlude of cloying self-indulgence. Next, we submerge ourselves all the way under in a spirited apocalyptic vision. All the Disney characters bravely face their final destiny without any licensing rights except Pluto. Then we time. What a wonderful group tonight. Thank you all. There are 2 poems not in the book. Last Thursday I did my hour on Vermont Public Radio to push the book, and of course the one poem not in the book was the one that received the most phone calls. I want that book with a poem in it. Yeah. Okay. So this poem requires in life an apple and a fly swatter. The title of the poem is Gone Forever. Once upon a time, a real live couple I knew made apple dolls for the Renaissance pleasure fair. What you do is draw a face on each apple and line the apples up on sheets of wax paper under the bed. You leave the apples there until they cooperate and wrinkle. After many years of watching generations of those sad and poignant little apple faces staring up at him from beneath the bed, the husband couldn't stand it 1 minute longer. Only don't you think that maybe, just maybe, we might shift to another avenue of artistic expression? No. I'm just beginning to grasp the subtleties of our apple doll oeuvre. No. The marriage was over. This poem is titled Identical Twins. It commemorates the age-old academic argument, what is the difference between poetry and prose? Of course, the answer is if you have good poetry and you have good prose, they are identical. Identical twins on the loose. Runaway homeless scum-drop dudes. Poetry and prose are madly in love, doing it on the park benches. No social worker will touch the case. Wolfing rancid banana chips, the twins play radical denouement. They never stop tossing flamingo neon dice for 2 nines. Winner gets a free subscription to the New York Times. You'll never find one without the other. So bad for the neighborhood. If we don't get poetry and prose inside by winter, they won't survive. And since we have the pleasure of Jack Foley's company, I'll present the poem that appears in the Tower Journal in the Jack Foley commemorative section. Some of you know Jack Foley's father was a tap dancer circa Fred Astaire. Jack has been known to tap in the quiet corner of his 3-acre sound stage. And the title of this poem is Dancing Up the Wall in Red Shoes. Jack taps exclusively outside the box. While Natty Red-Headed Woodpecker snaps his tap routine on hold, records Wild Jack's wild prestissimo clatter, shares it with his hip woodpecker friends, desperate to try Jack's latest beat. If you don't bounce off the walls of the box, you'll bounce off the walls of the universe. Sometimes it hurts when you cross the path of a comet, taking her first swing lesson. When you collide with a virgin comet, always say, "Excuse me, miss, love your tail." And tip your range-free black rabbit, reverse metaphor top hat. Don't be bashful now. But each sweet pain offers understanding. You'll find Jack happy, taking a break, standing under a banyan tree, slurping his alphabet soup.
Thank you.
And since you are indeed a long-suffering audience, I'll share this poem titled My Best Audience. Where the heaven is my audience. She's painting mandalas on her toenails and reading Jung to Kitty in a bombed-out garden. He's doing chin-ups after a run around the lake. Didn't trip on a landmine today. Mountain sleeping in, cougar wiped out in her den. Bighorn ram winks at his rival. Where is my audience? There it is, the sky, blue sky. Angels with human pretensions, poor devils. The deep blue sea, especially the jellyfish. They've read all my books. On quiet tropical nights, the jellies chant my entire opus from the top. And I'll conclude with a spooky poem titled Scrabble in the Belfry. Who's in that belfry? Sounds like French arugula just picked and talking dirty, or a high jump frog in training for an Olympic croak slam. No self-respecting bat would put up with that. Who's in that belfry? For sure someone is belting out a touching touche tonka balanced on a high G-string. Do squeeze my gloved hand because you will never touch my heart. Someone done up in an eggplant satin jumpsuit, grasshopper eardrops, a ladybug foxtrot marathon choker. Who is hanging out in that belfry? Big bell bongs to tell all the little lazy bells, bong, hurry up. Butter your tongues for the next epic. That word bomb will de-egg before you know it. Bong. Red-hot villanelles sail into a love-starved sunset sky. Black holes beware, love can swallow you. Belfry just can't get enough freshly tossed mixed metaphors. Hold the dressing. Belfry never says no to poets who stay the night, advance to the final round of the quick strip Scrabble playoffs if only the first dawn skylark wouldn't blow the wake-up whistle. Lift up a stone or a steeple, you'll find poetry. Thank you all very much.